Hi Dwayne, you said in your post, I want the mouse over button to stay the same and have the 5 other buttons dim out, not the one I am mousing over, and this isn't the usual behaviour. 2 ways were suggested: Gary's method using pop-up layers, and Siren's method with no pop-up layers using JavaScript. Not much point me attaching my Xara file, as everything you require is in Siren's Xara file. It's just a matter of understanding how to use it. Let's look at his file. And this is his file here. These top buttons here, let's go to preview. These top buttons, top row of buttons along here, when you mouse over them, they change colour and darken the ones that aren't selected, and colour the ones that are selected. And you said you didn't particularly want to do that, and that's why Siren has also supplied one where on this bottom row, if you mouse over them, it doesn't select the whole page, it just darkens part of the page. So everything you want is there. So let's see where we go. So I'll shut that preview down and let's see where's the JavaScript. And if we go into the website HTML code head, you can actually see this JavaScript between the style tags. This JavaScript is setting up 2 classes. One is called dim full window, and the second one is called dim only part, ignoring the rest of the time being. We'll get back to that later. Okay, so that's where the JavaScript resides. Next, let's have a look what else is there. If we go into the mouse over layer, and we need to go down to Wireframe for this. You've got these, you can't actually see them because they're underneath, and it's important that they be underneath the mouse over buttons. And they're just little rectangles, and they should say, I don't know if it's because I'm in Wireframe, it should say edit. Probably because I've got the web properties open already. And if I go to the placeholder, because it tells me down here it's one HTML placeholder, if I go down to placeholder and open the HTML code body, all it's got is one space, nothing else in there at all. But it's important that the space is in there. I've tried to take it out and nothing works then. So it's just a hit the space bar and that's it, and apply. The other thing about that placeholder is it has a name. And open the names section here, and it's called HTML class equals dim full window. So that is calling the JavaScript. That placeholder is calling the JavaScript, and in this case it's dim full window. Similarly, if I select these, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, they've all got the same name. On the bottom, however, click on them, and these are calling the class dim only part, which was just covering the buttons and not covering the whole page. So that's, you get that. I don't know if it's in Xara Web Designer, but it is in Xara Designer. You can actually open the use names, and you can click on these and you can see which buttons are which, unclick them, click on those, unclick them, so that's quite handy. So that's the nitty-gritty. How can you use it? Right, I'm going to open a second Xara file here, which is more like the one that I showed you. I'm zoomed out to 50% here, and in this situation I've got these buttons. I need to link to hash or pound at the moment, just to make sure that they've got to have a link, and just a hash will just give them a temporary link. Change that afterwards if you want. And if we open up the mouse over, there's exactly the same buttons. Ignore these ones down here, I'm just looking at these four here. So you've got these four mouse overs, and if you just ran them just as it is, you wouldn't notice any difference at all, because they're both exactly the same image. What I've done, however, is I'll just switch this mouse over off for a minute. Let's go into Web Properties, Website, HTML code, and I've copied this across. I've made it longer than it should, but I've just only used the dim only part. So there's two lines of it, dim only part, then various values, and then this dim only part, hover, visibility, hidden, important. I don't know exactly what that means, but that's still got to be in there. And just to make it a bit more easy to read, I've just broken it down line feed. By giving it line feeds, it still works fine, and it's a bit easier to handle, to edit if you don't really know what you're doing. So that's probably all you'd need, and you wouldn't need these 2, 3 lines, 4 lines down here. They're just other classes I've made for these lower buttons, but they're not important at the moment. Okay, so I've copied those across. What we also need to do is go into the mouse over layer, go down into Wireframe, and if I select these, look at the names, I've just copied them across from the other one again. HTML class dim only part. HTML class dim only part. Close that, and if we click on that, should it say edit? No, let's go. Oh, it's just because it's open again. Placeholders, replace with body, and again it's just got this white space line, like space bar, space, whatever. Okay, I'll better click apply just to make sure. I'll click play with that. Just as a quick explanation on these I click edit there. They're the same, but their names are different. These are called dim only part 2. I'll close that. Didn't need to close that. I'll click on that one. It's dim only part 3, but that's not of importance. We're dealing with this one up here at present. The only thing to do now is to amend some values in the JavaScript. And let's just have a quick look at this. And I'll go, if I click on that, I don't know if you'll see that. I'll tell you what, we're going to Firefox. Go that I've zoomed out a bit on this, so here's the JavaScript just so we can run through it. I've broken it down into a few lines. Alright. Right. This contains the value for top of the dimming rectangle. That's the top position of the page, and up here the top position would be 0 in this particular case. And because I also want it to be start on the left hand side, the left value would be 0, and the next line is the width, and the next line after that is the height. So how would you know that? Let me just go up to Xara again. Let's shut this down. If I drag my mouse over those 4 buttons, I can see that the X position is 0, the Y position is 0, so the top is 0, left is 0, the width is 960, and the height is 240. So that will make a rectangle at 0, 0 of 960 wide by 240 high. The only other thing now is to change is the background. This is background, and it says red, green, blue, because that's what you're doing it in, red, green and blue. And so you can have values over here from 0 to 255, 0 to 255, 0 to 255, and the final one here is alpha, which is 0.1 or 0.75, and you can just mess around with that value as you want. 0, 0, 0 is black in this case, so I don't know, we'll just try that, and as indeed it is black, it will go across. So you just change that in the head section to get whatever you want, and that's why I've made two other classes, because I want this one to just show, instead of going darker, you can see that when you mouse over the other 3 buttons to the left go paler. But that's 255 by 255 by 255, and you can always find out the values of any colour you want to use by going back to Xara. Let's wind this up to there. I'm going to just put I can say we're on the wrong layer. Right, on the right layer, we just can't edit it. So I want it to be orange. All I have to do is open up the colour editor, ensure I'm viewing in red, green, blue mode, and it's set to 255s rather than percentages. I don't know if you could actually put percentages in the JavaScript, but so if you wanted to do that, you know, you'd put 255 130 0. Okay, and let's again look at what would happen here. And I've actually put this one as a green colour with a transparency Why you'd want to do that, I'm not quite sure, but I'm just saying that that's what's possible. Anyway, just quickly to recap before I end, what you need to do is go into the website properties, into the head section, and copy Xara's code. You then need to put in whatever size buttons you're wanting. Then you've got to open up the head code again and match it to the size of the rectangle you want and where you want the position. You've also then got to go and copy the code for the placeholders that sit below the images in the mouse off layer, and put those behind the back and save that, and after that, that should work. And it sounds long-winded, but it's very fast. And thanks again, Xara, for his excellent code. It's good to follow it. Cheers. Thanks a lot. This is Egg. Bye.